That space of the silence that we're seeking all the time gets covered up by the I thought. We don't need to do to survive. We get less focused, we get more stressed, more worried about the future, we get stuck in catastrophizing. There's an activity in my mind that I'm identified with, believing that I need to do something to be happy all the time. Everything happens inside the I, which is untouched by all the content happening. The experience never changes the I. Alright, I'm going to teach you a really good trick that you can use if you want to learn to stop thinking, because I feel like this is getting more popular for people. More people are waking up to who they are, and so we realize that there's all this noise going on in our mind all the time. We have thoughts triggering emotions, triggering more thoughts, triggering more emotions. We get stuck in this loop of trying to do our way out, trying to think our way out of thinking, which is impossible. We cannot do that. But we all have silence on the inside. We all have a space on the inside that is in your experience right now. You already have it, but we can become unaware of it because when we think, I need to do this, I should do that, I agree with this, I disagree with that, I want this, I don't want that. I. This thought of I want this, I need to do that, I should behave like this, I should do that. That space of the silence that we're seeking all the time gets covered up by the I thought. I need to do that, I should do this, I agree with this, I disagree with that. And it makes the silence, the space of silence in ourselves, flicker. Almost like balancing, on a light switch, as we used to do as kids, and you have the light flickering, almost like that. So the sense of who we truly are gets covered up by the thoughts that tell us what we think that we need to be worthy of our own being, or just being ourselves. I need to do this to make myself feel whole again. I need to do this to get peace and quiet of my mind. And this is the paradox, because as soon as we start chasing these thoughts, convincing us that we need these things, we are in that wheel of never-ending suffering, never-ending lack in the body. Something feels like it's missing all the time, because we are convinced by the mind telling us that we need to do these things that the I in the mind comes up with. I need this relationship to be happy. I should behave like this. I don't want that opinion. I don't want that friend. I don't want that friendship anymore. All of these things, we get stuck in a solution-based type of awareness. As long as I can solve all of these things that the I thought tells me I need to do, or have, or be, then I will find a peace of mind. Then I will be fulfilled. Then I will be happy. Then I can finally rest. But that will never come unless we learn what it's like to find that silence, regardless of what the mind is doing. And that's what I'm going to point you towards today. I'm going to show you how we can find that stillness, how we can find that silence. And it might take practice, but you will actually find that silence if you just do the work. So I want you to visualize something right now. I want you to visualize a car in your mind, and you see the car, but also be aware that there is you observing the car in your mind, right? So there's you as the observer, and then you see the car. So there are two separate things happening. You observing the car, right? What I want you to do now is that you're focusing on the car. You're focusing on you as the observer of the car. Go back to yourself. Go back to the car. Notice the car. Go back to yourself. Notice the distance in between yourself and the car. And pay attention to the distance. Pay attention to the gap in between the car in your mind and yourself. Do you notice what happens there in the gap between the car and yourself as the observer? You might find this to be difficult. You might find your mind wanting to grasp this. That's okay. Just come back to the distance. Because if there's resistance, even that is happening inside of this space, right? So just come back. Notice the gap in between yourself and the resistance as well. And just rest there. Right? And you might have different things coming up here. You might have fear of losing control, or your mind going a little bit crazy, not knowing what it's supposed to be doing, because the mind can only be doing. That's why we cannot think our way into silence, because the mind always thinks that it's something to do. This apparent I thought that I told you about, that convinces us that we need all these things, it keeps us stuck in a never-ending loop of thinking that we need to do something all the time. So it comes up with its own problems. I need to solve this, I need to have that, I need to disagree with this. It comes up with all of these problems, perceived problems, which has nothing to do with actual problems, because problems does not exist in the present moment. Problems only exist in mind. So it comes up with its own stories about a potential thing that needs to be solved, a problem that we need to fix. And then we spend time and energy needing to fix that, trying to fix that. Painting up an illusion that we are the doer of our life. I need to do all these things to be happy. I need to solve these things to be happy, to be fulfilled, to be peaceful, to find stillness, to find peace of mind, whatever. So we get stuck in this prison of always needing to do something. And you can probably place yourself in this scenario right here, but if you lay down, if you're so used to doing, high achievers, high performers have a big issue with this. When they allow themselves to rest, they don't actually allow themselves to rest. When they lay down to rest, I should say, they don't allow themselves to rest. They think, I need to do this, I should do that, I should do the laundry, I should pay the, whatever, I should build a business. All of these things. I should go work out. All of that. So we're not allowing ourselves to be. We're identified with the doer, with the doing in the mind. We believe ourselves to be this doing activity happening, thinking or convincing us that we need that to be happy, that we need to do to survive. But we don't. We don't need to do to survive. We get less focused, we get more stressed, more worried about the future, we get stuck in catastrophizing. We're never present, ever. We're not authentic. We're not ourselves. We are stuck in this activity, convincing us that we are this thing needing to do, always being in the future, or trying to get away from a painful past. So even that, there's an activity happening that wants to do something all the time. And then you have you, which is aware of that. Oh, there's an activity that never allows me to rest. There's an activity in my mind that I'm identified with, believing that I need to do something to be happy all the time. Okay, so you have that activity of the doing, the seeking, the having to solve, and then you have yourself. What's in the space around? What's in the gap between yourself and the seeking? There's nothing there. But yet, paying attention to that space gives rise to a sense of fulfillment, a sense of being home, a sense of well-being, a sense of I am complete, I don't really need to do anything to feel good about myself. More clarity, more focus, more presence, right? No fear. So learning to exist in the gap is what I'm saying. Learning to localize that gap, learning to realize that I'm not the thinker of thoughts. And I cannot think my way out of thoughts because I'm not the thinker of thoughts. It just happens automatically. I'm not choosing these thoughts coming into my awareness. I can just allow them to be what they are. And I can find the gap in between myself, the apparent gap in between myself and the thoughts, and realize that all of these things, how I see myself, feeling myself, the image of the car or the activity of the seeking, doing, needing to solve, and the gap, it's all me. It all happens inside of me. Nothing is separate from me. Even the ocean here, even the sky, even the buildings on the other side here, even the camera happens inside of me. They're all activities happening inside of me. Shapes, changing, shifting all the time. In the present moment, except one thing, and that is the I. The I never changes. The I in which everything appears. The gap, the activity of the seeking, the car, the sense of me, who I am, all my opinions, all my beliefs, all my stories, the ocean, everything I hear, everything I see, everything I smell, everything I taste, everything I feel, everything I think, all happens inside my awareness. Activity is happening inside awareness. Sound, everything. So there's no need to try and make anything happen, because everything happens automatically. We're just here for the ride. Everything happens inside the I, which is untouched by all the content happening. The experience never changes the I, but they are dependent on each other. Experience can never happen without the I, because experience happens inside the I, and the I needs experience to understand itself, to know itself. Otherwise, if there's only I, there's no contrast. Fact is that there is only I, but the key is to find ourselves back to that, to remember who we are. To not identify with the content that we experience, to not identify with the thoughts, with the thinker, with the seeking, with the needing to do, with the doer. We are that which is aware. For coaching inquiries, click the first link in my description. I've got guided meditations and all sorts of exercises and everything on my Patreon, the second link. Subscribe if you want to, like and comment as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll hope to see you in the next one. Bye.